Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop.
This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yeah, I almost forgot.
First.
March 1st.
Mardi Gras.
It's gonna be March.
Doesn't
No, too early,
doesn't
Jeff.
work as well.
Right,
Too early.
I'm very excited, though.
Yeah,
it's springtime. Kind of feels like it here in Denver. I had a little extra spring in my
Me
step
too.
this morning. Did you guys?
Yeah, the birds were chirping, and I was like,
The window was down a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a little extra today.
Nice.
I didn't really get a lot accomplished.
The weather
but-
has locked us down. I think everybody's kind of ready to get out a little bit, so I'm here for it.
And snow on Saturday. Okay, cool. Let's get to it. Some stars are fleeing Ukraine due to the conflict with Russia, of course. Max Chermakovsky from Dancing with the Stars posted this video as he was boarding a train to Poland. He called the experience, quote, traumatizing, and later said he was in a packed train with adults and children trying to get out. Meantime, Sean Penn tweeted out this photo walking to the Polish border after abandoning his car on the side of the road. He said the line of cars in the photo carry women and children only, most without any signs of luggage. And some movie studios are boycotting Russia to protest the invasion. Warner Brothers said it was pulling the release of the Batman in Russia. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, and Disney is pausing all its theatrical releases in the country, and Netflix is refusing to air Russian state TV channels, something that it would have been required to do starting next week. I mean, listen, we can't physically get boots on the ground per se, but at least something's being done, right? Is this something
This
for
is
you
how
guys?
you handle it when you don't have a ground invasion. You do it the other way. You attack people's finances, which sadly is almost a more effective strategy. I mean, I look at this and you take away their ability to bank, basically, to do business commerce with the rest of the world. I mean, I think that, and this is going to be in perpetuity for a long time, Tori. So I think the crumbling of their dollar, their ruble, I believe,
It's already crashed.
Yeah, it's
at nothing
I think
now.
this is almost worse in a way.
yeah, and just so you know, Russia's set up like an oligarch, which just means a lot of people with a lot of money are in charge of the whole thing. And so Putin has his friends. And what happened recently is they took all their banks away, all the money from the millions from the oligarchs, and already 2 of them have started flipping on Putin. As soon as you take the money away, it all crumbles, right? And so when you take away entertainment, Anonymous, the group Anonymous, they've hacked into their Russian propaganda RT.com and taken that down. So attacking all angles, when you thought this would be an easy invasion, has really turned out to stop the invasion. And I would also be remiss if I didn't say walking to the trains in Poland feels very reminiscent of a Holocaust situation and is a memory that was not too long ago, 45, 44, 1943. And so to see people like getting on those trains with women and children trying to get out, people died in those trains. They were died because of suffocation in the Holocaust. So it just brings up really strong memories of another dictator that Putin reminds me of.
Well, and those are for the people who are able to get on the trains. I mean, we know that not everyone has had equal rights.
That's very true. Yeah.
Hashtag Africans in Ukraine has been trending.
Absolutely.
Students, people of color have been denied access to get out, to flee. So, it's like we would always say this, and it seems so cliche, like there are no winners in war. Like, there aren't, because there are people certainly who are under Russia or are Russian, living in Russia,
right?
And they do not agree with anything.
They're protesting,
too, right?
Yeah,
and they're being affected as well. So I think when we talk about leadership, because you have a very strong juxtaposition when you look at Ukrainian leadership and the leadership of Russia. And people always act like this is just some figurehead, like some talking head that occasionally we see every couple months, if we're lucky, type thing. But you look at what happens here, leadership in your country is very important. And if you are on board with the type of person that you want to lead your country, that's why voting really matters. And I understand this is a different country and this is Russia, but not everybody's down for Putin there either.
No, and they're protesting with a lot of dissent and a lot of punishment for that dissent, so they're risking it.
Yeah, and I think it's something everybody's talking about, so we had to touch on it a little bit. We're going to switch gears here. A sequel to the 1988 cult classic, Tori mentioned it yesterday,
Yeah, I
Beetlejuice,
did.
is reportedly underway with some big stars set to return. According to Deadline, Brad Pitt,
No.
production company, Plan B, is working on the sequel. Who knows? If it's production, he might jump in there. But so far, it's in the early stages. The original cast starred Michael Keaton, of course, as Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder. They're both reportedly coming back for the sequel. That's good news. But no word on whether Alec Baldwin, Catherine O'Hara, or Gina Davis will return for Beetlejuice 2.
I'm going to put $100 on Alec Baldwin won't be in the movie.
I don't know.
I think that Alec Baldwin brings a truckload of controversy you certainly don't
Also,
need
truckload of eyeballs.
Or boycotts. There's a lot of people online that really, I think Baldwin adds a unpredictable factor you might not want for that sequel.
Well, I do think that they could make the movie without him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, getting away from Alec for a second, I've always wondered, and I want to get you guys' opinion on this, I wonder if movies like Beetlejuice could be made today, because I look at a movie like Dumb and Dumber, which was ridiculous, but it was kind of made to be tongue-in-cheek and
funny.
ridiculously
good.
funny. But I feel like the internet, had it been around back then, would have ripped that movie apart. I don't know if by the time Beetlejuice gets here, people won't have picked it to death to the point. Like, I feel like absurdity doesn't do as well in the theaters anymore. Am I wrong? Do you see what I'm saying?
I'm going to be I don't know what genre Beetlejuice is. Is it a horror film?
It's like a
I
comedy.
would say comedy.
Comedy horror, but it's also what he said, which is like an avant-garde absurdist film in some places. Like at one point, they go to another dimension and a sand snake comes and almost eats them. So it goes
I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, it goes into the
I've seen it. I just don't know what I saw.
Oh, I love
is what I'm saying.
That's a lot of Tim Burton films.
Yeah.
You're not really, you could partake in some other activities before the activity.
More sense. So yeah, I mean, I hope so. I'm excited. Jeff, are you excited to see this?
You know what? Listen, I love the nostalgia of we do these stories all the time. Man, I'm so nostalgic for Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. I didn't even finish the last season. It's getting so played for me, right? When something else comes out, Entourage, the movie's coming out. It was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sex and the City is great. It's not
cringy.
so great.
Yeah, I worry. Beetlejuice to me is one of the top aspects of a really interesting take from Tim Burton. It's like an iconic movie, and to do a sequel, I feel like sometimes might diminish the classic.
Maybe, but it's a classic to us. But there are 14, 15, 16-year-old young people looking at that saying, hey, I want to be a director, but I don't like to go cut and paste. What's he doing? And that's how you inspire the next generation. So maybe the next Tim Burton, he or she or they are looking right now and they're going to look at this film and be like, that's what I want to do.
Your kids aren't going to see Beetlejuice.
No.
What they're looking at is, can we do this in 3 minutes or less?
Yeah.
That's what they're looking at.
All right, let's squeeze in this last story. Actress Sydney Sweeney from the hit HBO show Euphoria, which Tori loves again.
I
All
love
these stories are set up for you.
I love
Says
it.
there
I
is a
love
double
that show.
standard when it comes to men and women doing nude scenes. So speaking to Cosmopolitan UK, Sydney worried she had appeared nude on screen too much. She started Googling celebrities who had done nude scenes for context. She said that male actors who go nude win Oscars and get praise, but the moment a woman does it, it degrades them. Okay, we had to just cut that down a little bit. That was my fault. But so what do you think? Does she appear nude too much, and what do you think about?
It's pretty gratuitous. It's a lot, and she has a body that's really voluptuous. So it's kind of like startling to see it. It's HBO, so they go there. But she, out of all the characters, you see more than the others, and I definitely see her point, because although we're starting to see male nudity a little bit more, and you do see it in Euphoria actually quite a lot, it can feel, and there is some rumors about a Euphoria that's a bit exploitive, that it's a bit like Minka Kelly went on, for instance, and said the first day they're like, hey, can you just get nude? Can we want to do a scene? And she's like, I don't feel comfortable at all doing that.
Well, see, that was kind of the thought in my head. It's like, I know Minka Kelly's been around for a while. I don't know much about this actress.
She's up and coming. She's
right.
amazing.
So does she have the autonomy,
Right, the power.
to say, hey, you know what? I'm actually okay with nudity, but let's make it nudity for a purpose, or would she have been replaced automatically?
Right.
And that's the difference, I think, when it really is coming to the fundamentals of the male versus female nudity. A lot of times when we see male actors full nude, it's like, did you hear so-and-so is going full nude? It's not like, hey, there's
story.
this dude that, you know, so, but for women, it's like, put anybody literally in there.
Right.
So, yeah, there is a double standard.
Yeah,
and I think there's always been a double standard. Will that change? Hopefully.
Yeah, and they do say, Sam Levinson, the creator, said if there was ever a problem, you could say, I don't want to go nude. But again, do you feel the power to say
Right.
something? Right.
Thank you for getting the man's point of view.
Yeah, I had something to say.
You know, we'll be naked next segment. Coming up on DBL, our interview with Real Housewives of Orange County star Heather Dubrow. She's catching us up on all this drama. Plus, celebrity couple news. Are Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, are they getting back together?
Yep.
No, no. I don't know.
Closed captioning provided by
When we
If you didn't know, Sydney Sweeney is in White Lotus. She's a phenomenal actress. She's 24 playing a 17-year-old. And what people are saying over here is she's 24 playing 17, and maybe right now, because people know her name, like cover of Cosmo like that, maybe now she feels the power. But she did say in an article that I read, Sam Levinson, again, the creator, he's the son of Barry Levinson, who's a famous filmmaker, said whenever there's too much nudity, and she said, I don't feel like it's right for the scene, he would say, okay, no problem. But again, Minka Kelly showed up, and there was a scene that didn't call for nudity at all. It was her first day on set, and they're like, you know what? Drop the dress. We'll do it nude. And she was like,
I mean, what?
No.
Can I ask you, what is Euphoria?
But then the director was like, okay, fine.
yeah, right. It was totally okay. Exactly. It was just a
don't
presumption.
you think it's
of
weird?
that.
Because I mean, I don't know the show, but I know it's drugs,
It's like
alcohol,
it's
sex.
about high school. Yeah.
Very provocative.
Drugs, it's very
pushing the envelope. So isn't it weird that this is the only thing we're talking about, and we're not like taken aback by how much drug use and wow.
Dana, I talked to you about this.
And I don't mind. I think that should be shown in.
Glamorizes it all.
A lot of people think it glamorizes it. I've talked to Sierra about it, who's holding the camera. Sierra, say hi.
I think it's horrendous.
And I asked her, is this real for kids these days, right? Like, is the drug use that crazy for Euphoria, or is it actually real? And, you know, if you're comfortable, a lot of people say it's not too far off from what's going on, although it does glamorize it in some ways. But they show the relapse, too, which is the withdrawal, which is awful. And they show the realness of that.
But do you think that drug use might be a response to kids entering a world that we've set up for them that is completely obliterated? They have no chance.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can completely I get it.
Totally.
They're going to be buried in student debt. They're probably never going to own a home. They're
The
going to be
climate
called
is
lazy
terrible.
immediately.
Their environment is
And,
failing.
and I don't know. You know, kids are people. They're going to do drugs to relieve anxiety. And I think that there's anxiety coming in terms of what their future looks like. So I don't know if we blame this on nudity.
Right.
Right. By the way, I don't think Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis can be in.
Welcome back. We have some celebrity relationship updates. Here's the question. First, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, are they back together? Well, reportedly, they're working things out. The couple split in January after 16 years together, but now it appears they're living together again and maybe giving love a second chance. Yeah? All right, love's in the air. And other happy news, former Bachelor Colton Underwood is engaged to his boyfriend after less than a year of dating. Colton came out as gay just last April. Hulk Hogan is clearing up some confusion about his marital status. He announced to his fans he divorced his wife Jennifer last year after 11 years of marriage. Some fans called him out after he appeared on social media with a woman he referred to as his girlfriend. All right, well, I don't think that's
worst hotel room ever. Wow,
They're being held hostage.
Howard Johnson. Wow.
And Shannon.
That guy was on top of the world at one point. He's like in a efficiency sad dad suite. That's where you go when you got divorced and you got nowhere to go. You're like, I got $60 tonight. I'm right next to Hulk Hogan in this hotel.
We got to get a replay on that.
You got to go in there and a fire escape.
Let me get this last one out because they're not together either. Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan are still working out their divorce because they can't reach a settlement over how to divide his Magic Mike money. They separated back in 2018. All right, so back to the hotel room.
That was weird. Erica, you seem to have some thoughts about the Magic Mike story.
Yeah, well, I don't know what dealing with this type of money is like, okay? I'm just going to put that on the table. But I think that anytime you are entering into a partnership like marriage, you have to have these things worked out in advance when it's like, hey, listen, this is what would be fair should something go down. And then you get that in writing with your attorney. I can see why people don't want to do that on a regular basis because it's not sexy. Kind of why, the same reason why a lot of people pass away with absolutely no will or an executor of their estate. But these are the things that you want to kind of have happen. Maybe I think this way because I've been divorced before, but also I don't want to be fighting over money.
Yeah.
I don't want to give, if something were to happen, I don't want to put any more of my energy into something that is dead.
That's it. You nailed it.
You just you invest in nothingness when you're doing that. I have to say, I like this trend of maybe reconnecting in the air, like Ben Stiller and his wife as well. I feel like, but, we're getting
even
a little
Ben Affleck and J-Lo.
I feel like there's a little, I don't know, love powder in the air. Like, I feel like it's been such a hard 2 years. I feel like maybe romance and things are coming back.
Well, or maybe it's just like, honestly, people are locked down together and you can't really explore.
You kind of ruined my whole thing.
You have a chance to reflect on your own relationship and be like, maybe there's something there.
Because people are disgusting, and you're like, well, I'm not going to go with that disgusting person. I just go back to my old ways.
What about romance?
Romance? What about COVID and the diseases everywhere? I don't even want to leave my house.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Leave the package out there. I'll come get it.
That's just a romantic speech.
I'm sticking with my wife. Coming up on DBL. Are you splitting up with your husband?
No, I'm just saying I feel like romance can be in the air, and you're like, humans are horrible.
Gotta get that
It's
love
called
powder.
pollen. All right. Heather Dubrow is dishing on all the Real Housewives drama next.
This was...
A military funeral is a way to honor a person's service to their country. Verify viewer Gus says he's attended 2 recently in California and noticed an absence of a rifle salute. Gus says he's heard they're banned in California. So, let's verify. Are rifle salutes banned at military funerals? Our sources are the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the American Legion, the U.S. Air Force, and the California Department of Veterans Affairs, or CalVet. There are 2 types of funeral honors. One is a 21-gun salute, which uses artillery pieces and is exclusively for heads of state, like when they honor the late President George H.W. Bush. The other is a 3-volley salute, which uses rifles and can be performed for anyone. The 3-volley salute was a staple at military funerals until 2013. The military would provide a 7-person team for funerals, who could act as the firing party. But budget cuts trimmed the detail down to just 2 people who fold the flag and play a recording of taps. In some cases, command staff can allocate more people, including a firing party, which is often the case for those killed in action, but it's no longer required except at Arlington National Cemetery. The VA tells Verify, quote, "We are not aware of any state bans of 21-gun salutes as part of military honors. National cemeteries are federal properties. Therefore, even if a state ban existed, it would not apply to VA national cemeteries," unquote. CalVet also says there is no restriction on 3-volley salutes at state veteran cemeteries, although the family must get either the military or an authorized provider, like the American Legion or VFW, to perform the salute. So it's false that rifle salutes are banned at military funerals. They're just not required. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Heather Dubrow always speaks her truth, and recently she returned to the Housewives franchise to let her family share their truth. Take a look.
This is really important because I definitely believe this will change lives. Your incredibly brave daughter, Kat, recently revealed that she is a lesbian, but she also said she's been dealing with a lot of homophobia since coming out. talk to us. Where is the majority of this coming from? And what could you tell our viewers, if there's any of our viewers out there who have someone in their lives that are coming out and they feel the need to discriminate? What would you tell them?
These kids are from a different generation. So they grew up with social media, which we didn't. We get a troll, we get a something, we take it, to heart. Right. They're much better at dealing with this, which I'm very thankful for. Our daughter Max came out a couple of years ago, and she was just flooded with so many supportive comments, but also, trolls and, tragic stories that we've heard about. And so I had no idea Kat was even going to be telling her story this year on the show. I think the take-home message is, get your people around you that love and support you, and make sure that you have a solid foundation there, and come out only if you can come out safely.
How are you helping Kat navigate her new reality? I just really want those caretakers, whatever, family members out there who are watching who may not know how to navigate, hopefully learn from you, because again, this will save lives.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And thanks for giving us the platform to talk about it. I think the most important thing, obviously, is communication. And as a parent or a caregiver or a friend, you have to listen. A lot of us want to talk at our kids and impart our wisdom and tell our stories. They just want to talk. They want to vent. They want to figure themselves out. All I care about is having, healthy, independent, functioning humans. That's what I'm doing my best with. You got to listen.
Absolutely. Now, Heather, you've been with your husband, Terry, for 25 years now. Congrats. And you have a new special. Absolutely. It needs to be congratulated, where you two help a couple on the brink of divorce. So in your opinion, Heather, is there anything a couple can't work out, kind of like Sam's microphone right now?
They told me to move it. I wish they didn't tell me to move it. Sorry.
It's like, as couples, in your long-term relationship, you have good days, you have bad days, you actually have good years and bad years, and it's really about how you all get through it together. But when you start a long-term relationship, you have certain things that are yeses and nos, and it's a negotiation, what you're willing to put up with, what they are, and that's how you figure out if they're the right person for you. But as you grow and change, life grows and changes. The thing is, are you growing together? Are you growing apart? Are there any hard no's there? Unfortunately, I think that some people that aren't self-actualized and self-confident and working together to make their relationship great, I think sometimes there are insurmountable problems, and they do break up. Look at our divorce rate.
It's work, for sure.
Absolutely. And see, that leads me to my next question. We keep 100 on this show. What are your hard no's? Because you said every couple has them, so what are yours personally?
Ooh.
Okay, well, good question. All right, so I think for me, when we first got together, I said to Terry, I was like, listen, if you ever cheat on me, just don't let me find out, because I can't live in that space. I would feel like a private detective. I would just feel, because for me, someone who's loyal, honest, and respectful, that's what I was always looking for in a life partner.
Okay, so let's get into the Bravo tea, because I'm about it. So all right. Here's the tea. Margaret Josephs from The Real Housewives of New Jersey was recently on our show, and she said the OC was the worst franchise because you all aren't gelling as well as you used to. So does she have a point? And is there any rebuttal to Miss Margaret?
Come on, Heather.
Well, first I would say, wow, so much for the sorority we're all in. That hurt. But I would say this. I think where this show works the best, to her point, is when there is a real connectivity amongst the cast. And clearly, if you listen to the audience and what they've been saying for the last several years, is that that's what's been missing. So, that is one of the reasons I came back. What I will tell you is this. I really think that this has been a very transitional season. I think where we go from there is a very cool place.
Ooh, I can't wait, because I know you and Noelle have been heating it up. Can't wait.
Heather, we're so glad that you're back on The Housewives. DBL Nation, you can watch season 16 of The Real Housewives of Orange County every Wednesday on Bravo, and tune into E! On March 1st when Heather's new special 7-Year Stitch premieres. Heather, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you soon. We'll be right back.
Thanks guys.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
One question some newlyweds want to know is, if you're married but want to keep your finances separate, can you file as single? Let's verify.
Our source is Mark Henry, CEO of Alloy Wealth Management, and the IRS.
The IRS recognizes 5 statuses: single, married filing separately, married filing jointly, head of household, and qualifying widower. According to the IRS, your marital status on December 31st determines whether you are considered married for that year. Married people may file their federal income taxes jointly or separately.
So you would file as married filing separately. So you're not filing jointly if you want to do that. And people do that.
According to the IRS, a joint return allows spouses to combine their income and to deduct combined expenses on a single tax return. If you use the designation married filing separately, each spouse signs, files, and bears responsibility for his or her own tax return.
When you file separately, married, but you're filing 2 different tax returns, it actually puts you in a higher rate, but it's not the same as filing as single.
Henry says figuring the tax both ways can determine which filing status will result in the lowest tax, but usually it's filing jointly. So we can verify that no, you cannot file as single if you are married. However, you can file your taxes separately from your spouse. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
In late January, the New York Times bought the massively popular word game Wordle. And in recent weeks, people have begun complaining that the game has suddenly become harder, claiming the Times version has more obscure words. But is that really true? Did the New York Times make Wordle harder? To verify, we looked at the source code for the original game site using the Internet Archive, the source code for the New York Times version of Wordle, and we got a statement from the Times. To understand whether the game's gotten harder, you have to understand how the daily word is chosen. This isn't like the crossword, where puzzle masters decide each day what the answers are. The answers were predetermined long ago by the creator, Josh Wardle. There's a set list of about 2,500 words that are assigned to different days. So to see if the Times made the game harder, all we have to do is look at the source code for the original website's word list and the new one. And yes, it's possible to see the complete list in order, so you could cheat if you really wanted. Anyway, we compared the 2 word lists, and they're nearly identical. The only change, the original list is 6 words longer. When the Times took over, they removed 6 words, either because they might be offensive or because they were just too obscure. They did not add any new words. So, if anything, they actually made the game easier. A spokesperson for the Times confirmed this in a statement, saying, quote, "Since acquiring Wordle, we have not made the puzzle harder. We have not added any words to the solutions list, which was already predetermined by the game's original creator. On the contrary, we did remove a few obscure words. As an example, we removed agora in an effort to make the puzzle more accessible." So, we can verify, no, the New York Times did not make Wordle harder. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
All right, before we go, Erica, you have something really cool to share, huh?
Yes, I am officially the March cover girl for Cherry Creek Fashion.
No. Wow!
It's a spring fashion. I just want to thank Esther Lee Leach, who's editor-in-chief. Carolyn Miller did those amazing photos. Our very own Jeray did the sleigh. Angela Stevens flew in from LA to do my hair. I mean, just incredible. That is the team, and of course the flowers from Once Upon a Flower. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
That's amazing. I feel like weird looking at that because you look stunning, and if I was out and someone's looking, I'm like, stop looking at that. That's Erica. Congratulations. CBL's New Every Day. We'll see you tomorrow.